All right, this is day 39. And I've already done some of the preliminaries. I filled up the generator. I talked to my brother and my nephew, neither of which is going to come and help me. But they got to know what's going on, so I talked to them a little bit. And I'm getting ready to put on the electric panels. It's going to rain a little bit later, so I'm not going to try to do a bunch of stuff crawling on the ground or something. I'm definitely hoping I can get that trailer company guy, Brandon, to help me out and do some of the work that, frankly, I just don't want to get up there and do it. It's a little hard. All right, well, let's get to it, see what happens. All right, as you can see, I got the disconnect part. I took off the dead front and the cover because it's much easier to work with like that. And we set them right in here so they wouldn't get messed up, along with the screws, so I wouldn't lose them. Very easy to lose those in the grass. Okay, let's see what we got here for this. We got the cover for up here at the top, which stuff I'm going to throw away, paperwork. We have an added lug and the green ground screw. Now the green ground screw will go right through here. You can see that. You can see the hole. Go right through there at the hole, and you can see it says bond screw, and it screws into the panel and bonds the neutral to the panel. Well, we're not going to do that here because we need to maintain a separate ground from the neutral. So we need a ground bar, which we don't have. Alternately, I could just separate, see the bar right here? I can just take that bar off, or I can go get another ground lug kit. I'm not even sure if I ordered that. So you can see right here is where your power comes in at the top, or power always comes in at the top. And the main lug feed-throughs for to goes to the trailer is what it goes to. And that'll be only controlled by the 200 amp breaker. And here we have two neutral lugs. One's going to be an incoming, and one should be an outgoing. That's what they gave us this for. We can add this on a key, something like that. Somewhere in there. I have to check out the directions, see where it goes. We add that on, and that can be our feed-through lug for going to the neutral. I can take that bar off and just use this as a ground. It'll be an incoming ground. Look, I still gotta have another lug. Let me check out that ground kit. I'll let you know about that. Okay. Now let's look at the disconnect. Remember, I got this disconnect on the down low, which means I got it from Amazon, and I paid a lot less for it. I think I paid $195 for it. The one that they sell in Home Depot and stuff and other places is like $500. Man, it's expensive comparatively. So I went with this cheapo, but it is a little bit different. I'm hoping everything works out. All right, let me take it apart and look at it. All right, this is the transfer switch. 200 amp manual. You can see right here's where I'm going to be connecting my 200 amp wires. Right here, right here. And then one of these goes to the generator. And typically up, it just only says off, on, and on. But typically up is going to be the power company, down is going to be the generator. All remarked out so it's more clear. You can see this is a knife and blade switch. Right here's being the knife. Right there's the blade. See how they connect into the blades? Get the angle right in there. So when it's engaged, there it's running from that lug to from this lug to this lug. When you disconnect it, it's running nowhere. And down here be from the generator. So what we're going to do is, see these middle lugs right here? We're going to hook them up to the trailer. Those are the two hots that go to the trailer. And that way, because the trailer is what you're always going to feed. You want to feed the trailer hot. Now at the top, we're going to put the power company's hot wires, because they always get to come into the top. And then down here at the bottom, we're going to put the generator wires. So when the generator feeds it, puts a nice switch down, it'll feed the middle lugs going to the trailer. When the power company's feeding it, we'll put it up here, and the power company will feed to the middle lugs, which goes to the trailer. Okay, now down here you can see a neutral. and see how it's separated from the panel. It's isolated, insulated, and then right here's your ground attached to the panel. So we'll feed ground in, ground out. We'll keep all that isolated. The neutral will not be connected to the panel. The ground will be separated. Also, right here, because it is a sub panel, we will add 2 more ground bars, or I'm sorry, 2 more ground rods. That's because of the rule that says if you only want to add 1, you got to prove that it only has 25 ohms of resistance. Nobody ever does that. They just add the second ground rod needed. Well, I'm not saying nobody, but definitely not me. Okay, here you see this is where this cap goes on, and it's just a plastic cap. Running cap is what it's called. But I am going to add a little bit of clear silicone. Let me turn this over. Clear silicone around it so that it makes a good, nice rain-tight seal. Because you know how I am. Okay, here you see I put a nice bead around the edges. You know, just flip it over and not look at the camera. Put it on there. And screw it in and wipe off the excess. Okay, just a little bit of tightening here. And lose the screw. Try again. It's awesome. The excess doesn't really hurt nothing, but makes it look better. Clean it up. Silicone's hard to deal with too. It's all sticky, nasty. Trying to use a dirty towel to clean it up with. All right, clean it up again. Okay, so we're out at the rack. So you see this is level. This is our top one. If I leave it at that point, I'm going to pick up the meter and see if I like it at that height. And of course the poles are pretty level too. No problems there. What we're going to do is we're going to put this disconnect, this 200 amp transfer switch on the left hand side. We're going to put the panel, the 200 amp main feed through disconnect with extra spaces on the right side, because that's what goes to the trailer down there, and the one on the left comes from the pole. So it makes sense, right? Right here are these not spring nuts, they're nuts for the super strut nuts. They're just a little bit different than the spring nut, but a lot of people do use the spring nuts. I just like these a little bit better. And of course, bolts and washers for the spring nuts, or super strut nuts. All right, let's get to it.